Okay, so let's dig into this. We've been looking at some really interesting sources that paint, well, a pretty bold picture for the future. They're calling it the Agentic Web.
It really is a fascinating vision. The idea is that intelligent software agents, they won't just be doing simple tasks anymore.
Right.
They'll be acting autonomously, um, even reasoning and collaborating across different systems, different data sources. The aim isn't just, tweaking efficiency a bit.
No, it sounds much bigger.
Yeah, it's about fundamentally rethinking how work gets done, making processes, well, significantly smarter, more adaptive.
Okay, so more than automating clicks, it's automating some of the thinking. But the sources we looked at, they also flag a real challenge here, don't they?
They do. There's this gap, a big one actually,
Yeah.
between these really exciting AI
The
prototypes.
cool demos.
Exactly. And actually making these intelligent agents work reliably with proper governance and making them scalable inside, actual business operations.
So how do you take these powerful building blocks, the AI agents themselves, this idea of RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, and this emerging thing, MCP, the Model Context Protocol, how do you actually weave them together inside your organization?
Well, this is where the sources really focus on needing some kind of unifying layer. They point towards platforms specifically designed to bridge that exact gap,
Wait.
to embed these new capabilities into, day-to-day operational reality. WorkflowGen is one platform mentioned quite a bit,
Right.
described as connecting the AI, the systems, and crucially, the people, all within governed processes.
Got it. So the plan for this deep dive, looking at our sources, is to really understand that orchestration piece, how platforms like WorkflowGen are presented as, well, tackling it by integrating these core bits, AI agents, RED, and MCP.
Exactly. We're going to look at how that synergy is supposed to work according to the material.
We'll explore what each part brings to the table.
Yeah, and then how bringing them together, specifically in a process-focused way, could potentially change intelligent automation.
Okay then, let's unpack this for you and see how the sources describe turning these building blocks into something that actually works and scales. So maybe start with the AI agents themselves. In this agentic web idea, particularly within a framework like the one described, how do the sources see their role?
The sources really position them as the intelligent actors within a process. When you integrate them into a workflow, they're shown as these software entities that can understand the process state, look at external data, make quite complex decisions, maybe trigger actions or communicate.
So they're doing the work.
Essentially, yes. Their value is performing tasks autonomously based on goals you set in the workflow. It's a step beyond just simple scripting.
They're like the smart workers in the process.
Yeah.
But the sources also stress something important, right? For these agents to be genuinely useful and, well, reliable in business.
Yeah.
They can't just operate on generic public knowledge. They need your specific company stuff. Is that where RAG fits in?
Absolutely. Spot on. Retrieval Augmented Generation RAG is presented as crucial because, as the sources explain it, it grounds the AI agents.
Grounds them.
Yeah, grounds them and the large language models behind them in your specific internal proprietary business data. So instead of, hallucinating or giving generic answers.
Right.
RA lets the agent first pull relevant info from your company's knowledge bases before it generates a response or makes a decision.
Okay, so if an agent's handling, say, a customer query, RA could fetch that specific customer's history or the relevant internal policy docs.
Precisely. It helps ensure the agent's output is accurate, it's contextually right, and it's relevant to your business situation. It draws from your actual, hopefully up-to-date knowledge.
That sounds critical.
The sources really emphasize it as a key step for making agents useful and trustworthy inside a company.
Okay, so we've got intelligent actors, the agents, and they can access specific company data using RAG. But how do they actually, talk to your existing tools? How do they pull data from a CRM or maybe trigger something in an ERP system based on those RAG-informed decisions?
Good question. And that's where this Model Context Protocol, MCP, gets highlighted in the sources. It's described as, well, an emerging standard.
A standard.
Yeah, aiming to provide a kind of universal communication layer. MCP basically standardizes how AI models and agents can find, understand, and securely interact with all sorts of external systems, applications, databases, you name it.
So instead of needing, like, custom integration code for every single tool an agent might need to use, your CRM, project tool, email, whatever.
Exactly. MCP potentially offers a standardized interface. The sources frame it like a universal adapter, really, enabling the agent to reliably ask systems for data needed by ARBA, for example, or to execute actions based on its logic and the RAG results, all through a consistent protocol. Often there's mention of an MCP server that kind of acts as the gateway to your internal systems.
Right. This is where that synergy concept the sources talk about really starts to click, doesn't it?
Right.
How do these three things, agents, RAG, and MCP, actually play together inside an orchestration platform like WorkflowGen? What kind of examples did they give?
Well, they often use examples like a complex new client onboarding process. WorkflowGen would kick off and manage the whole sequence of steps.
Right, the overflow.
Then, at a point where some intelligent analysis is needed, it activates an AI agent. Now, the agent knows it needs specific context about this client, about your business roles.
Okay.
So it uses RAG. It might pull relevant onboarding procedures, maybe compliance checks, or details about that client segment from internal knowledge bases. And potentially, it could access those bases via MCP if they're set up that way.
And what if the agent needs, say, live data from the CRM right then? Or needs to create tasks in other systems?
Exactly the point. It would leverage MCP to talk directly to those systems. It could query the CRM for existing records, maybe use MCP calls to create tasks in your project management tool, or update a database record.
So it gets info, talks to systems.
Right. Based on the info retrieved using RAG, maybe via MCP, and its interactions with systems via MCP, the agent performs its task, like assessing a WISC level and generating a tailored onboarding plan. And all the while, WorkflowGen is governing the flow, making sure any needed human approvals happen, logging everything for audit purposes, and moving the process forward.
So WorkflowGen, in this picture painted by the sources, it really acts as the central conductor. It brings together the agents, the intelligent workers, RAG, to make sure they're using the right specific company data.
Crucial.
And MCP is that standard language, so they can actually connect to and use your existing tools and systems.
That's the core mechanism described, yes. It provides that essential process backbone. It handles the handoffs between the automated agent steps and any human tasks. It maintains control, gives you those audit trails, and offers the integration points, whether through MCP or other methods, into your wider enterprise setup.
And this combination, it's not just theoretical, is it? The sources seem to suggest that putting these together really unlocks tangible benefits for operations. Things like, well, better efficiency.
Sure, increased efficiency, improved accuracy, too, thanks to that R grounding we talked about.
Right, more accurate results.
Yeah.
And maybe more agility in processes.
Yeah.
Being able to scale this kind of intelligent automation across different parts of the business, but in a controlled way.
Exactly. Ultimately, it's presented as a pathway, a way to move beyond these isolated AI pilots or experiments towards genuinely embedding intelligence deep within your core business processes, enabling levels of speed and precision that were just really hard to achieve before.
Now, making this vision a widespread reality, that definitely involves complexity. The sources touch on things like, needing good quality data for RA to work well.
Sure.
Or the effort involved in actually setting up systems to be accessible via MCP.
Yeah.
But the underlying message seems to be that organizations who do manage to leverage this integrated approach, well, they're not just building interesting demos anymore.
No, the implication is they're building a real distinct competitive advantage.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. What could moving beyond just pilots and actually mastering this kind of orchestration mean for your ability to gain that kind of advantage? Something to think about.